The distress call. The soft hum of the Indomitable's engines filled the bridge as Captain Vivian Torres stood at the viewport, her dark eyes scanning the endless void of space. The Earth Defense Force vessel was in the final stretch of a routine patrol through the Epsilon sector, an uneventful mission that had the crew counting days until their return home. Another thrilling day in deep space, Lieutenant Harriet Zhao commented dryly from her navigation console, fingers dancing across holographic controls. Torres smiled slightly. At 43, she had spent most of her adult life on ships like this one, protecting Earth's expanding influence among the stars. The short-cropped silver streaks in her black hair and the thin scar along her jawline were testaments to battles won and lost over 2 decades of service. "Quiet is good, Lieutenant," Torres replied. "Quiet means peace." Chief Communications Officer Devon Patel suddenly straightened in his chair, his hand flying to his earpiece. "Captain, I'm receiving something on long-range comms." His fingers moved rapidly across his console, adjusting frequencies. "It's faint, but it's definitely a distress call." Torres turned from the viewport. "Source: the Moralia system, Captain. About 6 light hours from our position." Patel looked up, concern etched on his face. "It's coming from Moralia Prime." A hush fell over the bridge. The Moralians were known throughout the galaxy as peaceful philosophers and artists. Their tall, willowy frames and luminescent skin made them appear almost ethereal. They had no standing military, no weapons of war. Their planet was a center of learning, with universities that attracted scholars from 100 worlds. "Put it through," Torres ordered, moving to the center of the bridge. Static filled the room, broken by a voice trembling with fear. The universal translator worked to convert the musical Moradian language. "Under attack, massive ships, they are killing everyone, please, anyone, help us." The message dissolved into static once more. "Try to re-establish contact," Torres commanded. Patel worked his console, but after a moment shook his head. "The signal's gone, Captain." Torres didn't hesitate. "Alert Earth Command. Tell them we're responding to a distress call from Moralia Prime. Then set course immediately, maximum speed." First Officer Marcus Rivera looked up from his station. "Captain, protocol dictates we should wait for orders when people are dying, Marcus," Torres cut him off firmly, "we don't wait for paperwork." Rivera nodded and began preparing the ship for faster-than-light travel. Defense Officer Naomi Chen spoke up. "Captain, the Indomitable is just one ship. If there's a real attack happening at Moralia Prime, what can we possibly do?" Torres fixed her with a steady gaze. "We can fight, Officer Chen. And we can call for help." She turned to Patel. "Send a message to every Earth ship within 2 days' travel. Tell them Moralia's under attack, responding now, additional forces requested." As the crew jumped into action, Torres activated a secure channel to Earth Defense Force headquarters. Admiral Desmond Hayes appeared on screen, his weathered face grave beneath a crown of close-cropped white hair. "Torres, what's this about Moralia Prime?" "We picked up a distress call, sir. They are under attack. I've set course to respond." Hayes frowned. "Do we know who's attacking them?" "No, sir. The message was fragmentary at best." Hayes was quiet for a moment. Torres knew what he was thinking. Earth had many enemies in the galaxy. Many species feared humans because they came from such a dangerous world. Humans were stronger, faster, and more resilient than most. They could survive conditions that would kill others. Some called them primitive or violent because of this. But those same species often asked for human help when trouble came. "I'll mobilize Battle Group 7, Hayes finally said. "But it will take at least 10 hours for them to reach you." "We'll hold until then, sir." Hayes nodded. "Torres, be careful. Find out who's attacking before you jump in. We don't need a war with someone we can't beat." Torres almost smiled. "With respect, sir, there's no one we can't beat." The Admiral sighed. "That's exactly the kind of human thinking that scares the rest of the galaxy, Torres." "Maybe they should be scared," Torres said quietly. Especially if they are the ones attacking our friends. The channel closed, and Torres turned back to her crew. Time to Meradia system. Rivera looked up from his station. 4 hours at maximum speed, Captain. Make it 3, Torres ordered. Chief Engineer Raj Malhotra's voice came through the ship's speakers. Captain, pushing the engines that hard could damage. I know the risks, Malhotra. Do it anyway. Yes, Captain. The ship's hum grew louder as the engines powered up. Torres returned to the viewport, her mind racing. Who would attack the Moralians? They had no valuable resources that couldn't be found elsewhere. They weren't in a strategically important location. They had no enemies that Earth knew of, unless... Chen, Torres called to her defense officer. Bring up everything we know about species that target peaceful worlds. Chen worked at her console, and soon a list appeared on a nearby screen. Torres scanned it quickly, stopping at one name, Vorax. The Vorax were a predatory species from a world with few natural dangers. They had evolved with pack mentality and saw themselves as apex hunters of the galaxy. They often attacked worlds that couldn't fight back, taking resources and people as slaves. It's them, Torres said, pointing at the screen. It has to be the Vorax. Chen looked uncertain. Captain, the Vorax have never ventured this far into this sector before. There's always a first time, Torres replied grimly. And if I'm right, the Moralians are in serious trouble. Torres walked around the bridge, looking at each crew member. I want all weapons ready, shields at maximum. And I want everyone to remember something important. The crew waited, watching their captain. The Vorax think they are predators, Torres said, her voice low and certain. But they've never met humans in battle. They don't understand what it means to come from Earth. To be born on a world where everything from the weather to the smallest insect can kill you. She looked back at the stars streaking past on the viewport. The Vorax are about to learn what happens when you threaten someone under human protection. They think they are hunters. Torres's eyes narrowed. We'll show them what real predators look like. The Indomitable raced through space, a single ship answering a cry for help. But behind it, across the void, other ships were changing course, preparing weapons, rallying to the call. A fleet was coming, and the Vorax would never see Earth the same way again. 3 hours later, the Indomitable slowed as it reached the edge of the Meradia system. Captain Torres stood at the center of the bridge, her face hard as stone. Scan the system, Torres ordered. Chen's fingers moved quickly over her defense console. Captain, I'm detecting 9 large ships in orbit around Meradia Prime. Energy signatures match known Vorax technology. Torres nodded. She had been right. Any other Earth ships in the system? Patel looked up from his station. Yes, Captain. 2 ships have arrived ahead of us, the destroyer Valiant and the heavy cruiser Thunderstrike. They are holding position just behind us. Torres was surprised, other captains must have pushed their engines beyond safety limits too. Open a channel to all Earth ships. When the connection was ready, Torres spoke clearly and calmly. This is Captain Torres of the Indomitable. We have confirmed Vorax presence attacking Meradia Prime. We will move in together. Valiant, protect the Thunderstrike. The cruiser has the heaviest weapons, we need it intact. 2 voices responded with, understood, Captain. Show me the planet, Torres ordered. The main screen changed to show Meradia Prime. It was a beautiful world with a single large moon, mostly covered in vast forests with sprawling cities built in harmony with the natural landscape. But the beauty was now marred by fire. Even from space, they could see burning cities. Vorax landing ships were moving down to the surface like hungry predators. Those monsters, whispered Zhao from her station. Torres's hands formed fists at her sides. How many Moralians on the planet? Chen checked her readings. About 4 billion, Captain. 4 billion people who had never fought a war, who had no weapons that could stop the Vorax, who were dying while the Indomitable watched from space. We're going in, Torres said. All ships, advance together. The three Earth ships moved forward, engines glowing as they accelerated toward Moralia Prime. "Captain, the Vorax have noticed us," Chen reported. "Their ships are turning to intercept." Torres nodded. "Good. Every Vorax ship that faces us is one less bombing the planet." Patel touched his earpiece. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the largest Vorax ship." "Put it through," Torres ordered. The screen changed to show a Vorax commander. The Vorax resembled large feline predators standing on two legs. They had sleek fur in patterns of gold and black, amber eyes with vertical pupils, and retractable claws on both hands and feet. "Human vessels," the Vorax said, its voice a deep growl. "This is Warleader Kazak of the Vorax Dominion. The conquest of this world is official Vorax business. Leave now or be destroyed." Torres stepped forward, keeping her face calm. "This is Captain Vivian Torres of the Earth Defense Force. You are attacking a peaceful world allied with Earth. Withdraw immediately." The Vorax commander's whiskers twitched, a sign of amusement among its kind. "Three ships. That is your response?" The Moralians begged for help from anyone who could hear. "Is this all Earth sends?" Torres smiled, but her eyes remained cold. "You misunderstand, Warleader. These three ships aren't the full human response." She nodded to Patel, who pressed a series of buttons. "They are just the ones who got here first. The rest of the fleet is inbound," Torres continued. The Vorax commander hissed. "You lie. Our intelligence says the nearest Earth fleet is days away." "Then your intelligence is outdated," Torres replied. "But you're welcome to stay and find out." Before the Vorax could respond, Chen called out, "Captain, 6 Vorax landing craft rising from the planet's surface." Torres turned back to the screen. "It seems some of your forces are retreating already, Warleader." "Wise choice." The Vorax commander's amber eyes narrowed. "Those ships carry special cargo. The best of the Moralians will serve the Dominion. The rest will die." Torres's smile disappeared. "No, Warleader. They won't." She cut the transmission and turned to her crew. "Target those landing craft." "Captain," Chen said cautiously, "if we fire on them." "The Vorax will attack," Torres finished. "I know. Do it anyway." The Deathworlders respond. Admiral Desmond Hayes stood on the bridge of the Earth Dreadnought Sovereign as it led 38 warships through faster-than-light travel. At 61 years old, Hayes had seen more battles than most. A jagged scar ran from his right temple to his chin, a reminder of his first command against pirates in the Proxima system. "Status report," he called, his voice steady and commanding. His second-in-command, Commander Olivia Winters, checked her console. "All ships maintaining formation, Admiral. We'll exit FTL near Moralia in 14 minutes." Hayes nodded. The emergency call had reached Earth 8 hours ago, and the response had been faster than even he expected. Ships from Mars, Europa's moons, and even the distant Centauri colonies had answered. Some had been in the middle of other missions. Some had been undergoing repairs. None of that mattered when the call came. "What's the latest from Captain Torres?" he asked. Winters's face grew serious. "The 3 advanced ships are still engaging the Vorax. They've taken damage but they are holding. The Valiant has lost engines but is still fighting. The Thunderstrike reports shield failures on its starboard side. And the Moralians? The Vorax have landed troops in most major cities. Reports are bad, Admiral. The Moralians have no real weapons or defenses." Hayes's eyes hardened. He had met Moralians before. Tall, peaceful beings who valued art and philosophy above all else. The very idea of them facing Vorax ground troops made his blood boil. "Prepare all Marine units for immediate deployment once we arrive," he ordered. "Priority is protecting Moralian civilians." "Yes, Admiral." Hayes walked to the large view screen at the front of the bridge, watching the strange patterns of FTL space flow past. He had been briefed on the Vorax years ago. They evolved on a world with few predators, which made them aggressive but overconfident. Their military doctrine relied on intimidation and superior technology rather than tactical skill. They had never fought humans in a major battle before. "Open a channel to all ships," Hayes ordered. When the connection was established, Hayes spoke clearly and deliberately. "This is Admiral Hayes. We are minutes away from engaging the Vorax forces attacking Meradia Prime." He paused, gathering his thoughts. "Many of you have never faced the Vorax before, so understand this: they believe themselves to be the galaxy's apex hunters. They attack worlds they see as weak. They take slaves. They destroy those who resist." Hayes's voice grew stronger. "The Vorax have never encountered humans in real combat. They do not understand what it means to evolve on a world where everything, the weather, the animals, even the tiniest bacteria, can kill you." He looked around at his bridge crew, seeing determination in their eyes. "Earth made us strong not because we were the best killers, but because we refused to be killed. We survived ice ages and plagues. We outlasted predators faster and stronger than us. We endured disasters that should have ended our species 100 times over." Hayes straightened his uniform. "The Vorax think that being hunters makes them powerful. Today we will show them what it means to be survivors. Today we fight not just for ourselves, but for a peaceful people who cannot fight for themselves." He ended the transmission and turned to his tactical officer. "Commander Jackson, what's our battle plan?" The tall, broad-shouldered officer pulled up a holographic display of the Meradia system. "The Vorax have 9 capital ships in orbit around Meradia Prime. Our advanced ships have damaged 3 of them. We'll exit FTL here." He pointed to a position behind the Vorax formation, cutting off their escape route. "All fighters will launch immediately to target their engines. Our capital ships will focus fire on their command vessels." Hayes nodded. "And the ground forces?" 7,000 Marines ready to drop as soon as we secure orbital position," Jackson replied. "Colonel Nardia Ramos will command the ground operation." "Very good," Hayes said. He turned to Winters. "Time to arrival." 3 minutes, Admiral." Hayes returned to his command chair. In his 35 years of service, he had learned that no battle plan survived first contact with the enemy. But he had also learned that humans adapted faster than any species in known space. It was their greatest strength, forged through millions of years of overcoming challenges on the deadliest known inhabited planet. 1 minute to real space, called the navigation officer. Hayes took a deep breath. "All hands, battle stations." Throughout the ship, crews moved to their positions. Weapons officers powered up the massive energy cannons. Shield technicians diverted power to defensive systems. In the launch bays, fighter pilots climbed into their craft. Exiting FTL in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The swirling patterns on the view screen vanished, replaced by the star-filled blackness of normal space. Ahead of them, the blue-green sphere of Meradia Prime hung against the darkness, marred by the fires of war. 9 large Vorax ships surrounded the planet. 3 smaller vessels, the Earthships that had arrived first, were engaged in battle with them. "Launch all fighters," Hayes ordered. "Target the Vorax engines first. I want those ships immobilized." Across the human fleet, launch bay doors opened. Hundreds of smaller craft poured out, racing toward the Vorax vessels. "Sir," the communications officer called out, "we're being hailed by the Vorax flagship." On screen, Hayes replied. The image of war leader Kazak appeared. The Vorax looked surprised, an unusual expression for his species. "This is impossible," Kazak growled. "Your fleet could not have arrived so quickly." Hayes smiled coldly. "You should have studied us better, war leader. Humans don't like to keep friends waiting when they're in trouble." "It doesn't matter," Kazak said, his confidence returning. "Your ships are impressive in number, but our technology is superior. The Vorax Dominion has conquered 27 worlds. How many of those worlds fought back?" Hayes asked. Before Kazak could answer, Hayes cut the transmission. He turned to Commander Jackson. "Status of our fighters." First wave engaging now, Jackson reported. On the tactical display, Hayes watched as Earth fighters swarmed the nearest Vorax ship. Unlike the larger vessels, the fighters were small and fast, difficult to target. They fired precision weapons at the Vorax engines and weapon systems. The Vorax returned fire, their red energy beams cutting through space. Several fighters exploded into balls of fire and metal, but there were too many to stop. The fighters continued their attack runs, focusing on key systems. The Valiant and Indomitable are badly damaged, Winters reported. Captain Torres is requesting permission to fall back. Granted, Hayes said. Tell them they've done enough. We'll take it from here. As the three advance ships limped away from the battle, the full might of Earth's fleet moved forward. The Sovereign led the charge, its massive weapons powering up. Fire! Hayes ordered. The Dreadnought's main cannon fired a blinding beam of energy that struck the nearest Vorax ship. The alien vessel's shields flared brightly, then collapsed. A second shot tore through its command center. The battle had truly begun. From his command chair, Hayes watched as his ships engaged the enemy. The Vorax fought back hard, their technology indeed impressive, but they fought like beings who had never known real danger on their home world. They hadn't learned what humans knew in their bones. Sometimes survival meant knowing when to retreat. Sometimes it meant sacrificing part to save the whole. And sometimes it meant fighting with everything you had because the alternative was worse than death. As the first Vorax ship exploded under concentrated fire, Hayes opened a channel to the marine transports. Colonel Ramos, prepare your troops. As soon as we clear a path, you're going in. Ready and waiting, Admiral, came the reply. Hayes looked at the burning planet below. The Vorax had awakened something ancient in humanity, the pack response. The drive to protect not just their own, but anyone they considered under their care. The Deathworlders had arrived, and they were angry. The Vorax never stood a chance. Their ships were powerful, their weapons destructive, but they fought like beings who had never known true fear. They used the same tactics they had used for centuries against weaker enemies. They expected humans to retreat when faced with greater firepower. The humans did not retreat. When Vorax energy weapons tore through the hull of the destroyer Valiant, its captain, Julian Blake, turned the burning ship directly into the path of an enemy cruiser. The Valiant's remaining weapons fired at point-blank range, both ships erupting in flames. When human fighter squadrons found their missiles stopped by Vorax shields, they changed tactics. They timed their attacks to hit the same shield section simultaneously, creating brief weaknesses for larger ships to exploit. From the bridge of the Sovereign, Admiral Hayes directed the battle with the focused calm of someone whose ancestors had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of war. Status of the Vorax flagship, Hayes demanded. Commander Jackson pointed to a large red dot on the tactical display. Still operational, but its shields are down to 20%. Our third attack wing is moving to engage. Hayes nodded. And our ground forces? Colonel Ramos reports her drop ships have broken through their Vorax air defenses. Marine units are landing near the major cities now. 7,000 Earth Marines were dropping to the surface of Meradia Prime in armored pods. Each Marine was worth 10 Vorax soldiers, not because of better equipment, but because of what Earth had taught them. On the surface of Meradia Prime, Colonel Nardia Ramos crouched behind a fallen stone column. Nearby, 30 Marines held position, their weapons ready. Across the plaza, a group of Vorax soldiers had cornered several dozen Moralian civilians in a damaged building. Rodriguez, Tanaka, circle left, Ramos ordered quietly. Powell, cover them. The Marines moved silently, their dark armor helping them blend into the shadows of the ruined city. Ramos had been fighting for 5 straight hours, and her body ached from a wound in her shoulder, but she ignored the pain. Earthborn humans could push through physical discomfort in ways that amazed other species. Colonel, whispered Rodriguez through the comm system, I count 20 Vorax, all armed. The civilians are mostly children and teachers. Ramos's jaw tightened. The Vorax often took the youngest from conquered worlds, raising them to serve. We take them fast and quiet, she said. On my mark. She raised her hand, then dropped it. Go. The Marines attacked from 3 sides. Their shots were precise, taking down 8 Vorax before the aliens even knew they were there. The remaining Vorax turned to fight, but they were confused and disorganized. In 45 seconds, it was over. The Vorax lay dead or dying. Not one Marine had been lost. Ramos approached the building where the Moralians huddled in fear. The tall, luminescent beings looked at the humans with wide, frightened eyes. "We're from Earth," Ramos said simply. "We're here to help." One Moralian stood shakily. He was older than the others, with deeper luminescence in his skin. "You came," he said, his voice filled with wonder. "We called, and you came." "We always come," Ramos replied. "No one hurts our friends." As she spoke, more drop pods streaked through the sky. The liberation of Moradia Prime had begun in earnest. In orbit, the Vorax flagship listed to one side, its engines dead, most of its weapons destroyed. On its bridge, war leader Kazak watched in disbelief as his fleet was systematically dismantled by the humans. "Impossible," he muttered. "How can they fight like this? They are supposed to be weak. Primitive." When the transmission from the human flagship came through, Kazak almost didn't answer it. But pride, and fear, made him accept the call. Admiral Hayes's face appeared on the screen. "War leader Kazak, your fleet is destroyed. Your ground forces are being eliminated. Surrender now, and we will spare the lives of your remaining crews." Kazak snarled. "Humans. You think because you've won one battle that you are superior? The Vorax Dominion spans dozens of systems. We will return with 100 ships." Hayes smiled, but there was no humor in it. "Then we will be waiting with 200. But consider this, war leader, today you learned what humans do when someone attacks our friends. Imagine what we would do if you attacked Earth directly." For the first time in his life, Kazak felt a chill of fear. He had heard stories about Earth, the Deathworld, some called it. A planet so dangerous that it had forged its inhabitants into something uniquely resilient. He had dismissed those stories as exaggerations. He would not make that mistake again. "The Vorax Dominion withdraws its claim to Moradia Prime," Kazak said finally. Hayes nodded. "Wise decision. Now recall all your ground forces. Any Vorax still attacking Moralians in 1 hour will be considered a rogue actor and dealt with accordingly." The transmission ended. Kazak turned to his surviving officers. "Send the withdrawal order to all forces. We are leaving Moralia." One officer stepped forward. "War leader, this is unprecedented. We have never faced humans before," Kazak interrupted. "Now we have. And we have learned an important lesson." He looked out at the burning remains of his once proud fleet. "Choose your prey carefully." As the surviving Vorax ships limped away from Moradia Prime, Admiral Hayes watched from the bridge of the Sovereign. Earth Marines were still on the ground, helping Moralian survivors and hunting down any Vorax who refused to withdraw. Message from Captain Torres, "Sir," Winters reported. "The Indomitable is operational again. She's requesting permission to assist with rescue operations." Hayes smiled. "Granted. Tell her she did well today." "Sir," Jackson called from the tactical station, "Intelligence is reporting increased communications between the Vorax Dominion and other potentially hostile powers. It seems our response here has gotten their attention." "Good," Hayes said. "Let them talk. Let them wonder. Let them worry." Later that day, Hayes stood in a makeshift command center in what had once been the Grand Hall of Moradia Prime's largest university. Around him, humans worked alongside Moralians, coordinating relief efforts and defense preparations. The Moralian High Chancellor approached, bowing deeply. "Admiral Hayes, the people of Moradia cannot express our gratitude adequately. When we sent our distress call, we hoped someone would hear. We never imagined this." He gestured at the humans all around them. Hayes nodded. "That's the thing about humans, Chancellor. We may fight among ourselves sometimes, but when someone outside threatens any of us, or our friends, we respond. The Vorax called you primitives, the Chancellor said. They said you came from a Deathworld. Earth is harsh by galactic standards, Hayes acknowledged. But it taught us something valuable, to survive against all odds, and to help others do the same. The Chancellor looked thoughtful. Perhaps, Admiral, it is not despite your dangerous homeworld that you are so willing to help others, but because of it. Hayes smiled. Perhaps so, Chancellor. Perhaps so. As night fell on Meradia Prime, the fires of war began to die out. But across the galaxy, news was spreading. The humans, Deathworlders, had come to the aid of a peaceful race. They had faced the dreaded Vorax Dominion and emerged victorious. And the message was clear: touch our friends, and the sky will fill with human warships.